Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to Wargame. Now, today's replay is weird. It really had me laughing out loud when I saw what Joseph over here is going to be doing. You see, normally on Paddy Field you have these engagement lanes of Alpha Bravo Charlie, Hotel Golf. This is usually where the battle takes place. These angles. So what happens if you decide you don't want to play there? What happens then? Well, that's what we're going to find out in this replay. As always, if you like my content and you want to support my channel, then please do so by becoming a patron. Ad revenue, again, is not great. And since it's a military channel, I can get demonetized at any point. So your support, provided that you like my content, of course, and enjoy it, is very much appreciated. Link to Patreon down below in the description. Anyway, Red is communicating here. You can see a couple of markers going up, guys telling where they're going to go, how they're going to get there, and mostly what sort of units they're going to use. And then we have Joseph. Joseph has points for only very few units, because it is a tactical. He has an RS PVO, an M84A, an M84AK, and we're going to see some more units spawn in. Now, as you can see, the game is only going to last 19 minutes, and that's including the deployment phase. So we're going to be wrapping this thing up pretty damn quick. There we go. OT M60PB with some infantry in, and a Spat Foka. Again, this is not even his final form, I believe, because there was an M84 reconnaissance tank also going to be added. Yep, he removes the the Spat Foka, and there we go. There's the M84AN. So now he has a command unit, which also doubles as a command tank with decent armor and a pretty punchy gun. Reconnaissance tank, OT-60M PB, and a Sava, which has medium range anti-air capabilities. So, we're off. Big question, where's he gonna go? Because this is not really an area for tanks. Especially not tanks which don't have that much armor. And you really wouldn't want to take your command tank into a sector like this, right? Where Blue 4 infantry with their fancy anti-tank weapons can really make quick work of it. So what's he really going to be doing? English. So what is he going to be doing? Well, he's going to roll around. Like, around. Most people seem to know that there is this road up here and that there is this little flank that you can pull. Sometimes you can see a reconnaissance chopper try to land over here and drop off forces over there. But there is more of this map. There is, in fact, a lot more of this map, and Joseph is going to take us on a little stroll. He's going to take his units, his small column of anti-air, recon tank, command tank, and his infantry, which are still lagging behind, and take them all the way around the edge of the map. Now look at where I am currently. All the way over here. The OT-60 are definitely pushing in a lot faster. These guys are also mechanized units, but they are sticking to the roads. I'm not exactly sure why he's not taking the wide approach, but maybe because they have slightly less fuel. Yeah, these things have less fuel, and he's already looking at about 25% reserve. Actually, no, a third percent, really, 30%. Come on. 30% reserve, and he has to get to where he wants to go pretty quick. He wants to get to Elena. This is the only spawn sector that Blue 4 has on this map. This is exactly where they're going to come in. Everything that wants to spawn in spawns on this side of the bridge, crosses the bridge, or flanks around, and then starts making its way down. Now, we seem to have a severe lack of infantry over here in Boris, and the battle over here is not going too well either. Blue has only scored a few more points than Red, but not by any large margin, just 100 points. For some reason, we do seem to have a large presence over here on the right. BTR-70s, BRDM-3, a whole host of VDV. Sure, guys, but the battle is over here, and I'm not seeing any units, with the exception of a couple of reconnaissance units, which are being brought in, and quite a lot of artillery, but it wouldn't be a 10v10 without artillery now, would it? Anyway, he is in position. Proletary and M60s. These things also have anti-tank capability, or rather anti-vehicle, so something spawns in and immediately gets killed off. And now the main element of his push is coming in. So we got the M84AN, the M84AK, and the Sava. What could possibly go wrong? Because now we have the flank. Anything that spawns in is going to have a bad time. Now the Bachan 1C is having none of this shit, and it is starting to take shots at the enemy infantry over here. The OT-60s try to make it across. They do get across, but they don't really spot that much, because their spotting capability is not great. So at this point, it's down to the M84AN to do the spotting. And this thing has very good optics, and even medium stealth, because it's a recon unit. So it should have no problem lighting up targets. And that's when all that Red 4 artillery might actually come into play. We just need something to be spotting it. Sava is also a little low on fuel at this point. We get a Skyhawk? Really? Okay. Skyhawk tried to come in and got shown the way, well, not exactly off of the map, but near enough. Puma coming in fast from Darkwing and gets shot down. Another unit spawns in and gets killed off. This is why you defend this side of the map. This is why this flank is so important. And now you can see that the M84AN is lighting up targets. We saw a plane come in here, an Su-24. We saw an automatic go down. There seems to be quite a bit more of high value in here. That was an artillery unit. This might very well be a command unit, or at least a transport with a command unit inside. M84AN is not quite done yet. There's another command unit. The Bachan 1C is also still trying to make its way out. Unfortunately, a couple of Vickers are trying to ruin the party. But Vickers don't exactly have a lot of armor. And the M84 does. On top of that, the command tank is in this sector and is completely neutralizing the income. So nothing can spawn in here until they manage to push this command tank out or destroy it. And with the units that they're bringing, that is not very likely. If these units get wounded, need some sort of resupply, either ammo or fuel, then we have a very handily placed fob over here. It is currently turned off. I don't think he knew that. Otherwise he probably would have turned it back on. Because some of these tanks could use a bit of resupply. And Blue 4, which used to be doing very well. I mean, they captured Boris, they captured Greg. They're almost starting to push in here. If they weren't completely distracted by the assault in Elena. They were doing very, very well. And then Joseph showed up and completely ruined their day. Now, Fob's back online. M84 could really use a bit of repairs. But we also know there's still a command unit in here. And we just have to find it. The sector's not that big. So he is risking the recon tank in order to find that command unit. And there it is. It's a Command M60. He did spot it briefly. And come on. Aims the gun. Completely fluffs the shot because the unit's panicked. 50% accuracy. Reloads. Fires again. Seems to hit. And it gets taken out by a rocket pod salvo from a bunch of M8s. And now Red 4 can spawn in Elena and the game is up. So far, Joseph, in that brief assault, has scored 800 points. 800 points in the first, well, I think about 5 minutes of the game. Because these things usually run for 40 minutes. And we still had a bit of time for setting up. Maybe 45, actually. Anyway, more and more units are coming back from Blue. And they're just being driven to their death. M84 might be able to capture the fob and then get resupplied. And of course, at this point, he doesn't have to go at it alone. There's also a ZTZ-88A. There's more infantry being spawned in. Blue still has plenty of command units. They still have plenty of sectors and they have a lot of income, but no way to spend all that income. Now this is basically game over. This is why you defend this flank. Doing it in a matter like this is a bit much. You could have just had one set of Spatsnaz group a spot, and you'd have enough warning if something was trying to sneak around. Or similar on this side. But if you completely negate, or sorry, completely ignore this sector, this area over here, then this will happen. Interestingly, Joseph is not quite done. He scored 965 points. But now it's just a matter of wrapping up. More and more of Blue 4 is trying to surrender, or has already surrendered. Fedor has been secured, but it's blinked, so they might be moving their units around. Need to consolidate this first. At some point, I think they don't need any more units. They got an M84A, they got an M84AN. I don't see any super heavies from blue. There's a KPZ-70 coming in, but it's going to have a really hard time engaging both the M84 and the ZTZ. So this thing won't last long. There's one hit, there's a second hit, and there's the kill. The thing took a little bit of damage, but nothing too severe. Score, 1035. MiG-27 very rudely flies over one AA position and nails it. The second one unfortunately nailed the MiG. Come on, stop jumping my camera over there. Command infantry spotted over here. And it is just wrapping up. The interesting part is how many points Joseph is going to get by the end of this match. Red has scored 3,700 points. And Joseph at this point is sitting at 1,390. He has scored about a third of the points of his team solo. And he lost 20 points doing that. This is why on a map like this, where the battle seems to be focusing on the middle, you still need to secure your flanks. You still need to be doing reconnaissance. You still need to at least dedicate some units over there. Otherwise, something like this can, and as you can see, will happen. Now, his kills, what spawned right on top of the Proletariat was an Eric's group in an M113. The Sava was able to take care of the Puma and the Skyhawk. And then the M84AN did most of the killing when they were venturing into the sector. You can see an artillery unit, that's a mortar, that's an artillery command. Another artillery unit, a couple of those Vickers, Chaparrals, Kyler. This thing more than twice made its own value back in points. The M84AK also killed a command unit. And the M84A that he called in later killed another 3 command units and some stray transports. Losses, both of the OTM-60s, that's all. These things, they were pushing across the bridge, maybe just doing a bit of early force recon, despite the fact that their reconnaissance was bad. I mean, their optics are not good on these vehicles, but who knows? If it is just artillery, you might be able to get a kill. Anyway, that's it for the replay. Hope you enjoyed it. It had me laughing because he went so far off book, so far off the map, that I was wondering where the hell he was going to end up. And he ended up right in the enemy spawn. Call it a detour, call it a bit of a distraction, call it patience, but it worked. Had it not worked, I think Blue 4 would have won the game. Because they were getting a lot more points than Red 4, and they would have had the income advantage and then pushed through the open areas, as well as starting to wipe out more and more of the command units. Anyway, that's it for me for today. Hope you enjoyed the replay. If you did and enjoy my content, then please become a patron for the channel. I can really use your support. And aside from that, hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you guys soon for the next one.